What's up, guys? Today we're going to take a look at our first Gundam Artifact of the channel. These things are so very interesting. It kind of has a wargaming miniature vibe, similar to something from, say, like Warhammer 40k. Not quite the same because these are little demons, but all those fine, lovely details. The first set has the Rick Diaz, the EXS Gundam, the High New Gundam, the Nightingale, and the Barlant Custom. This one is the Rick Diaz. I really love painting these model kits, and I'm very excited to get to try my hand at it. It'll be a nice little break from normal Gundam fare. Not that I am displeased by that. I love Gunpla. This will be a nice palette cleanser. Not really sure how big I was expecting this guy to be, but this leg piece seems pretty big compared to my thumb here. And I would like to base him, so perhaps if it's big enough, we can put it onto a Warhammer base, maybe a slightly bigger one than the normal grunt-sized fare. We got 3 runners. The molding on these parts is absolutely beautiful. Let's build it.
So, while this was not a complex build, I did not really enjoy it. For starters, the plastic reminded more of like a Kotobukiya plastic instead of the normal Bandai plastic that I am accustomed to. So while that wasn't like egregious, it was off-putting. The other thing is that I wish we could have just gotten these like built to glue. You definitely can glue it, but I feel like with the way that they had us construct it, with it being a snap build, it was a little awkward, and I would have really just liked to have built it like a Wargame model. And here we have the finished product. It looks really nice. The panels on it are very good. There are a lot of details. It almost feels like I'm looking at a little real grade, which is really exciting, truthfully. The connection points on some of the parts are a little iffy and were a bit frustrating. Most notably, the gun and the hand holding it is not good.
Alrighty, guys, and now that we have our Rick Diaz completed, I would really like to paint this guy, and I've been having a lot of fun painting other miniatures, and I think he would be the perfect candidate to continue on that trend. Priming is a little tricky. It's not inherently difficult, but especially if you're using spray primer, it's very weather dependent, and it has been so humid here that I cannot reliably prime with the results that I want. So I've got some Army Painter brush-on primer that I really do enjoy this product. I think that brush-on priming gets some unnecessary flack. Sure, it takes longer, but I think that your results end up really well if you take your time with it. And we're hobbyists. You know, this is a patient hobby. So what's one extra little step? I also want to base this guy for ease of painting, and also just to add some little more stuff to the diorama. So I've got a base that we're going to use. We're going to put him on there. But we're not just going to give him a flat base. I'm going to get into my box of extra runners, and we're just going to find some nice mechanical little bits and pieces here to make ourselves a nice dynamic little base for him that we'll paint up along with him.
So let's build a base. I have lots of extra parts. You have lots of extra parts. Why do we hoard this stuff anyway? If you've got a bunch of gray sprues, you're going to make sprue goo. But we got all kinds of wild colors we don't need to keep. I've got pieces from Battlelog kits. I got a couple grays pieces. We're going to get some extra little bits. And we're even going to get into my jar of forbidden sprinkles and glue down some of those bits as well, as you're about to see. Basically with this, I just looked for relatively flat parts that I'd be able to balance the Rick Diaz on without him being a little too cockeyed, since these Gundam artifacts are static and I can't leverage those poses by bending the legs at all. So you need to be a little creative and mindful of that. And the rest of it we're going to fill in with those little bits. I took that downstairs and I sprayed it with some spray primer. Just quick and easy since there's a lot of little bits. But for the actual model, I'm just going to go ahead and hand prime it. It won't take too long. I would recommend thinning this primer down with just a touch of water. Get your brush and just do a little like brush dip and then mix it in. It can be thin. You do not need a lot, and you don't want it to end up goopy and obscuring all of those beautiful details on this kit. Our primer on the base is dried, so we're going to paint it. We've got lead belcher for our gunmetal, Balthasar gold, which is actually copper, Agrax Earthshade, and Nuln Oil, which are going to seep in and shade for us. That Gravelord Gray for our rubble, and then those last two. Apothecary White I didn't really end up using a lot, but Gray Sear I touched up on a little bit. We got lots of nice details. I'm really happy with how this came out. Now we're just going to go in and start picking out some noticeable parts. I'm going to use that Balthasar Gold for those copper effects. Just get in there, pick out some nice big highlighted parts that are going to stand out, make the eye pop. I kind of did a little ring about that way when I set the Rick Diaz up on the base, your eye kind of trails all the way around. And now I'm going to finish priming the rest of the Rick Diaz while my base dries. I went ahead and primed the legs first. That way, once they dried, I could take the clamp off the head and prime the rest of the body like I'm doing now. Same with the gun. Once it's dried and painted, we'll attach it. My three main colors we're going to use to paint are the Corax White, the Corn Red, and the Corvus Black. Now this Corvus Black, while it says it's black, it's more of like a 90% neutral gray. I'm going to layer that on first. We're going to do 2 thin coats, just like the great Duncan Rhodes always says. Thin it down a touch with some water, 1-to-1. And then once that's dry, we'll do our Corn Red in the middle. And Corn Red is a really lovely paint that has really great coverage. I know not all pigments are created equally. Corax White is a good example, but because we also thin down our Corvus Black, we're going to round back and touch those things up as well. I also used a bit of darker gray. Now, I definitely complained in the beginning about the actual building of the kit, but I have to say painting is a whole nother ball game because of how well that these kits are molded and sculpted and have all those details and panel lines. It makes painting this kit so easy because it's all broken down. You can go through and paint all the little notches. It's a joy to paint. Here you can see we have the rifle, the arms, the accessories all painted and all done. We're going to move on to our edge highlighting just to get some extra glints of light on those red parts. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be great. And here is the final product. And here we have our finished product with our edge highlights. I also used some Tesseract Glow technical paint from Citadel for the eye glow. Now every kit has its resistances, and I know I complained about the build, as I've said before, but painting this really was a joy, and it was something very different, and I'm happy I did it. And honestly, I'm looking forward to the opportunities I get to work with more of these Gundam Artifact kits, because it definitely was different. And if you guys are interested in picking up any Gundam Artifact kits, why not go over to leapingpandahobbies.com. leapingpandahobbies.com, where you can use my promo code EGGHEAD to get 10% off your entire order. That's right, no matter what you're buying, 10% off your entire order with my promo code EGGHEAD. Leaping Panda Hobbies is the best hobby shop that I've ever worked with, and that's why I've partnered with them to make sure that we get you guys kits faster and at the best prices. So go on over, show them some love, and make sure to tell them that Egghead sent you. And if you guys are new to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. It's free. It helps the channel out, helps me give out more discounts, lets the videos get seen by more people. We're making a really nice community over here, and I'd love to have you a part. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later this week with another video.